Okay, for the next step of creating our card, I'm going to bring in another image that we're going to use some tools to change it with. And once again, I'm just going to simply drag and drop the picture from the file manager program. And as it's currently selected, I'm going to move it to the area that I would like it to be. But I'm going to rescale this. Again, I'm just going to hold the shift key down when I do this. I'm going to change the scale so it literally just takes up the right hand side of the picture. Okay, so now we've got our two pictures, but what we want if we look at the finished picture is we want to sort of have these blended together a bit so that we kind of appear to be if there were one picture. And again, there are a couple of different ways that you can do this, but the way I'm going to show you is using something called a layered mask. Okay, so in order to do that, I'm going to make sure that my characters image is selected in the layers. And what I want to do is I effectively want to sort of get rid of some of the parts of this image of the characters and sort of bring through the image that's behind it. So for example, you could kind of change the opacity of this. That would kind of completely, if I just kind of go show you sort of changing the opacity of it, you can sort of bring through the other picture. But obviously that's doing it to all of the characters picture, and I only want to do it to an area towards the top. So one way of doing this is, as I say, using something called a mask. Okay, so I'm going to add a raster mask, and that's kind of associated it with this character's image. So whatever happens is just going to happen to this character's image here. Now, the idea of a mask is essentially it's a way of kind of like cutting holes through that picture so you can see the other pictures behind it. And the way that masks work is within the mask, you can draw on a mask. When you draw something that is black, what it will do is it will show through. If I just kind of maybe make the paintbrush a little bit bigger here, it will show through things that are below it. Undo that for a second. That's kind of what we're after. What we want is it to sort of slowly, starting at the top, sort of have all of it coming through. And then as we go further down the picture, we want less of it coming through so that we don't remove the actual character. So we just move some of the orange around the top. The way we can do that then is by using a gradient. Before you use this, so you just got to make sure that you've got black selected as your top color and white as the bottom color there. And I'm going to go in and again, making sure I've got this mask here selected, I'm going to choose the gradient tool. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to sort of try and draw a line gradient down there. Now, as you can see, what happens as you do that, it is basically sort of in here, the top part of the mask, you can see it is black and bottom area is white. And that's the gradient that we've just added. Just undo that a second. You can adjust the amount of gradient that you have there by sort of changing the sort of height of the line and things to make it more or less, etc. So it's maybe using Control Z to undo this. Just a case of sort of finding the right kind of balance where you feel you're getting enough of the picture coming through. Here you can see I've still got a line there, so that's not good enough. I want sort of a bit more like that. There, that line's kind of gone now. A little bit of sort of coloration coming through there. But overall, I'm happy with that. So that was adding a second image, the characters onto my picture here. And then I've shown you how we can use a raster mask along with a gradient tool to get this effect that it makes it look like two pictures were actually one.